Hey guys, it's Kylie from Noodlefish Gaming, and I'm going to be telling y'all a semi-spooky or scary story today. It's going to be part of a new series we're going to try out. So, after you watch this video, if you like this idea, please comment below and let us know. Or if you have any other suggestions or feedback, please definitely let us know. We appreciate any of the comments like that. But let's go ahead and get into the story. So, as you can probably already tell, I'm really southern. I was born and raised in Alabama, and I actually did not move out of that state until I was 19. So, needless to say, the house I grew up in was really old. But my grandparents had owned the house for about 40 years, and it definitely was not new when they originally bought it in the first place. So, this house was filled with history and character. It was just really old. My grandpa was a hunter, and so we had a bunch of blue tick hound dogs. One of them at the time was 10 months old, so he was still a puppy, and he was in the digging phase. And he had dug this fucking gigantic hole in his pen. It had to have been 8 to 10 feet deep. So my papa goes outside to fill the hole up, and, nothing interesting happens. Well, he comes in that night, and he's like, I have to tell y'all something. Something really weird happened when I went out there to fill up Max's hole. Oh my god, that sounded so fucking wrong. Okay, anyway, so he's like, I didn't show y'all, but when I went to go fill it up, I found a leg bone. He dug up a motherfucking leg bone. And my papa, like I said, he was a hunter. He knew a lot about animals and bones and their bodies in general. He knew the difference between animal bones and, human bones. And he said, I swear this was not any animal bone that I've ever seen before. He's like, it was a leg bone for sure, but I don't know what it belonged to, but it looked human. But he said, if it was human, it would have been a child because it was not adult-sized. He said, I buried it back in the hole because I thought that was the most, respectful thing to do in case it is a human bone. Well, we didn't think too much of it, it was weird for sure. But, we didn't freak out or anything, like I said, the house was old. So, it very well could have been that, years and years before they had bought the house, somebody had a child or, someone that they knew in their family that passed away and they buried him in the backyard. That wasn't a big deal at the time period that it would have happened in. So anyway, life goes on normally and nothing interesting happens for a while. But a couple months later, my grandpa sits us down again to tell us this weird story that had happened to him the night before. Like I said, this was so bizarre because my papa never told stories like this. So the fact that he told me automatically that something weird was really going on. Because like I said, he just did not ever talk about things like this. But he sits us down and he's like, okay, so last night something really weird happened. He was on the way to the bathroom, and just to kind of set it up in your mind, our bathroom was on the other side of the kitchen. We only had one bathroom, of course, it being an older house. And our kitchen window looked out into the backyard where the dog pens were. And we also had this motion sensor light on the side of the house, facing into the backyard, so that if anyone ever came into the yard, it would go off and, it would either alert us or the dogs, which hound dogs, if you have ever been around them, they are the best security system you will ever have. Those motherfuckers let you know if anything's even close to your property. Well, anyway, he was going to the bathroom, and he noticed that the outside light had been set off, so he's looking out the window to see, if there's an animal or, what's going on. And he says that where that dog's pen was, he saw a little girl standing in it. And at first, he just stared because he was like, well, what the hell am I seeing? And then he decides to, go open the back door because he thinks, okay, maybe the kid's lost or they've run away from home or, something like that. But he goes out there, no one's out there, and the dogs are sound asleep, which if somebody, if an actual human had been out there, they would definitely, for sure, be awake. So he's like, well, that's really weird. And he went back in and went to bed. But he did tell us about it the next day because he thought it was really odd. And again, life went on. Nothing really exciting happened for a while. And maybe 6 or 8 weeks later, I'm I'm up in the middle of the night, which I've always had insomnia, so that wasn't anything weird. It's the middle of the night. I'm in my bedroom. Like I said, I'm 10 years old. I'm finally about to go to sleep, and I think I hear something. I think I heard something outside. But I'm like, okay, it's probably either the dogs or, somebody in the neighborhood. Because we did have woods behind our house, but we didn't live out in the woods. We actually did live in a neighborhood. So I just didn't think anything of it. So I fell asleep. And however many hours or minutes later, I jolt awake with just like terror automatically as soon as my eyes open. And I don't even know how to fully explain it. But I looked down at the foot of my bed, and I had this tiny little, twin-size bed at the time. Because like I said, I was a kid. And I see this little girl sitting at the end of my bed. And she has this long jet black hair. And it's in her face. She's looking down. I can't see her face. I just see her sitting here at the end of my bed. And I can feel like the pressure, the weight of her sitting on my bed. You know how you can always, sorry, I'm hearing fucking random noises in my house as I'm telling this story. Oh God, please fucking send help. But anyway, so I'm just like staring in horror, and she's wearing this, floor-length little, it kind of looked like a nightgown, but it was fancier than a nightgown. But it had long sleeves, and it was down to her feet, like I said. But it had dirt on it, and her hair was all messed up, like she had been in the woods or playing or something, It looked like there was like leaves or twigs in it. It's really long black hair. And everything felt like it was going in slow motion, And she slowly starts to turn around to look at me. And right before I can see her face, she just fucking vanishes. And the second that she vanished, I felt the weight lift up off my bed. And so I'm just like, oh my fucking God, this is some Ring horror grudge shit, I'm gonna fucking die. And I don't think at that point I had even moved a muscle yet. I was just like, oh my fucking God, what did I just witness? And, at that time, I loved watching horror movies, and I loved ghost stuff. Anything like that I found so interesting. And it never really scared me. But this fucking did. I was horrified. Well, I finally fall asleep, and I wake up the next morning, and, I tell my grandparents, because it freaked me out. And they thought it was weird too, but, they try not to make a big deal out of it because I'm 10 years old and they don't want to freak me out even more. But I decided to do some research later on because I'm like, I wonder if somebody died here. It has to be connected with the bone because the description that my grandpa gave of the little girl he thought he saw standing out in the pen where the bone had been found matched what I saw that night. So I'm like, I'm going to research and try to find out if I can find any proof of anyone dying while living in this household or, at this address or anything like that. But sadly enough, the records in my hometown just were not kept up good, especially, that far into the past. So I could never find direct proof of anyone dying there. But I did research into what I saw her wearing. And I did find out that what I saw her wearing sounded identical to a dressing gown that they used to bury women in that time period. And by in that time period, I mean, obviously previous to the 40 years that my grandparents had been living in the house. Now, like I said, again, I was only 10 years old, so I didn't already know that people were once buried in these little dressing gowns. They weren't always buried like we bury people now in normal clothes. So, I mean, I didn't just, know that already and make it up. But needless to say, after this first original incident, weird things started happening, more and more often at my house. And all I can imagine is that when the bone was disturbed by the dog, it, disrupted something. I'm not sure what else would be the cause of that. It was just such a crazy chain of events, that I thought it was definitely worth telling. I freaked a lot of friends out with this story, so I figured it might be fun to tell you guys. If you'd like to hear more of my weird, creepy stories or other crazy things like this that have happened to me, comment down below and let me know. I would like to tell more of these if y'all would want to hear them. Like I said, it only got crazier after this incident, so there's definitely more to come. But thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!